Hello, everyone. This is Stephanie O'Brien, Group Program Design Specialist. I'm here with Angel Tuccy. Today, we're going to talk about how switching from serving people one at a time to many people at a time has made a huge impact on her business. So, Angel, why don't you start by telling us a bit about yourself, who you serve, and what kind of an impact you have on their life?
Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for having me as a guest on your show today. When I saw the post that you were switching to one-to-many, I thought this is a perfect opportunity for me because I tell people no more onesies. Building your business as an entrepreneur will be slow and exhausting and expensive if you try to build it one person at a time. But I'm an author, a speaker, a radio talk show host for 10 years out of Denver, Colorado, 14-time best-selling author. And I teach people, entrepreneurs, authors, and coaches specifically, how to leverage the power of a media interview to create more exposure and visibility for their brand.
Oh, awesome. So kind of like what we're doing here.
Yeah. Exactly, right? Being interviewed is the easiest way, especially I call it using OPA, other people's audiences, is the easiest way to build your business, right? Create exposure, one-to-many.
Exactly.
You do one interview, many people hear it, you get in front of fresh new audiences every single week, and all you're doing is answering questions. It's a great way to get yourself out there. You don't have to be a public speaker. You're having a conversation. It's a game changer for small business.
Absolutely. So what first inspired you to make that switch from serving one-on-one to one-on-many, or did you even start with one-on-one, or did you go straight to one-on-many?
I did start doing one-on-ones. I was in a leads group, right? I went to a leads group every week, hoping for great new leads, talking to the same people over and over again, week after week, doing my one-on-one, discovery calls and one-on-one coffee meetings. And what I discovered is I was having a lot of coffee and a lot of phone calls, one person at a time. And mostly I started it just for time management. Like, who's got time for this? So started putting together even group calls, just even for the onset of it. And then, of course, being able to deliver something in a group setting freed up amazing amount of time. And I'm thinking, why aren't more people teaching entrepreneurs to do this? But so often we're taught to stay busy but broke, one person at a time, one LinkedIn message at a time. I will tell you, I was on a call with somebody the other day who's helping you schedule more LinkedIn phone calls. She's like, Angel, I'm up to like 40 calls a week. I thought I would die.
Exhausting.
Okay, thank you. I'm trying to be pleasant and polite, but I thought that's a killer for small business. This is why at the end of the day, most small business owners, they get to the end of the day and they feel taken advantage of. They feel like their business isn't growing because they're giving all day long and not able to monetize it fast enough.
Yeah, as people talk about fill your calendar with clients. Well, how about fill your bank account and fill your clients' lives with change without getting your calendar so jammed you don't have time for anything else?
Exactly. Like this is, we got in business to create a lifestyle. Right? Not to sit here and do calls all day long and to be tied to our computer or tied to the phone or driving back and forth to coffee meetings all day long. Yeah. It is, you think about any large company, any big business, they are not serving one client at a time. And it's ridiculous to think that we can create a lifestyle doing that.
It's like people talk about, why aren't doctors paid as much as athletes? Well, because athletes are serving millions of people at a time. Their giant paychecks are coming from millions of viewers, not just one patient at a time. So it's not saying it's fair, but that's what happens when you serve more people at a time. There's more payment coming in to contribute to your paycheck.
That is a great analogy, right? Doctors, and think about no matter how good he is, at the end of the day, if he wanted to double his revenue, there's no possible way that he could double his customer base. Like there's no more hours in the day for him to work. And so he caps out at a ceiling. Like even if he's in and out in 5 minutes, at some point, if you are serving your customers one person at a time, you're going to hit a ceiling.
Yeah, unless you got other doctors working under you or other people working under you. But once again, it's just switching to one-to-many. So got a few more questions to ask them to make sure that our viewers get all the answers they need. So the other is, what challenges did you encounter along the way, and how did you overcome these challenges that popped up while you were switching from one-to-one to one-to-many?
I think the biggest challenge I had to overcome was first with my own mindset. that there was another way. It didn't have to be this way. There was so much more opportunity, and really that I was being selfish if I thought I could just give all my good stuff to one person at a time. Think about how much more giving we are when we are sharing it with the masses, right? Multiple people, like you said, with the athletes. So many people get to watch and tune in and enjoy that, not just one family or, one small audience, right? And so it was first my mindset, just getting out of my own way.
Right.
And I think that for many of us, like, well, this is it, and this is what I've always done. But then probably the second challenge was really having a guide that had done it before, right? That maybe there was a system in place that I could follow. I didn't have to recreate the wheel. I could get guidance from somebody else. And so I think, trying to do it myself was dumb. Getting guidance was better.
Yeah, there have been billions of people on this planet, and yet we still feel the need to not draw from the expertise of all those who came before us.
Yeah, somehow we think I've never done it before, but I'm going to figure it out. There are people that
we can. It just takes longer.
Before you. They've done it. They've learned the mistakes. I think that's oftentimes one of the most valuable reasons why you would go and hire somebody is they've made the mistakes. They know what not to do. I think sometimes that's more valuable than what to do.
Yeah, that's a very good point. There's so many things that look like a good idea at first, and then you do them and find out the hard way. Oh, I should have done that, or even okay, that got me the result, but there were other ways I could have gotten the same result so much faster.
Exactly.
So, if you could give people who are considering making that switch one piece of advice besides the ones that we've already talked about, what would that one piece of advice be?
So start small. Start with a habit you already have. The way I started, especially with some of these, one-on-one discovery calls or these prospect meetings, was I started backfilling. If I already had a meeting on with Stephanie, then when I had a second meeting, I would say to them, I'm already meeting with Stephanie. Why don't you join us? And then I would backfill that one discovery call, that one discovery coffee meeting, and build it one to many. I called it a non-dinner dinner party, like the old-fashioned dinner parties when you would invite 10 to 12 people, and so I would backfill. So I was only having one discovery call a week or coffee meeting a week, and I would fill that up. And it was so valuable, Stephanie. People who would not have normally been able to meet each other ended up meeting each other, and it allowed us to kind of be a lot more efficient with our time. So that was
very clever,
side, right? It was my own version of the dinner party. And again, it was purely for time management. So that was the first piece. And that's with those prospecting calls, right? And those discovery calls. You don't have to do that one person at a time. No more onesies. And then with serving my clients, putting together a program, putting together a system, a service that instead of serving one person at a time, I could deliver it to a couple. And again, I started slow. 2 people in a call, right? 3 people in, and started building it slowly up from there, and realizing that if I could go out and do these interviews, bring them into a group discovery call, and then serve them in a group delivery, with a program that delivered to a group, I saved my sanity. I saved my time. I felt like I served them so much better because you show up higher, right? When there's an audience versus one person at a time, right? So they got a better quality of service from me. I delivered, I think, a higher energy to them. It was a win-win in my bank account. It was a win-win in my calendar. It was a win-win in the service, the quality, the up-leveling. There was no downside.
That is brilliant. I really like that idea of taking the one-on-one calls you're already doing and just adding people to them. And I found as a client of coaches, sometimes when other people are asking questions, they ask questions that I had but didn't think to ask. I didn't think I had any questions, but I actually did need to know that. And then they asked it. So it can be really beneficial, not to mention if you're in, say, if you're in business coaching, then people have a chance to network and meet other people that they needed to work with through your coaching.
And even as I've been in other group coaching programs, right, where I've been in the audience, and like you said, Stephanie, people are asking things I didn't think to ask. They're coming at it from a different point of view or a different stage of their business. And I can learn something from the others in the room just as much from the coach.
Yeah, That's a really handy aspect of it. Okay, so aside from the things that we've already talked about, are there any other ways your life and business has changed as a result of switching from helping one person at a time to helping more?
I think that the biggest breakthrough, Stephanie, is financially. Think about how, one of the things that I do teach is talking about becoming a published author and leveraging your story out into the world. And there are so many opportunities to get your story out into the world that don't require your one-on-one personal time. So you get your time back and you create mailbox money, right? Residual revenue, royalty income, having a membership driven business. There's so much money to be made out there. And the only reason we're not, again, goes back to our mindset, right? The limitations we put on ourselves. You can look no further than the mirror to see what's stopping you.
Yeah, I've had times when working with a coach, he gave me exercises. I had some circumstances in my life that felt like they were happening to me, and then he gave me some exercises to identify, okay, what are the behavior patterns on your part that are contributing to this? I just write down.
Shoot.
Dang it!
All right.
I was doing that the whole time. So if people want to work with you to get their story out there, to maximize their time efficiency and to get published, so what are their first steps to take to work with you?
Well, I'm so glad you asked, Stephanie. I know that it can be very overwhelming to want to share your message out into a larger audience. And especially if you're not a public speaker, I almost didn't graduate high school because I was too nervous to speak in front of an audience. And so I totally get where they're coming from. So what I've done is put together a media guide that gives them step-by-step, just some ways they can get started, some baby steps they can do to get their story out in front of the media, headlines that they can send to media outlets, and even for using for their social media posts. And it's all complimentary, just for them being a listener on your show today. And they can get it at my website, makeyourbigimpact.com. That's makeyourbigimpact.com, and just look for the complimentary media starter kit.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for Angel, for your time, for your expertise, and for the starter kit. So for those of you who are watching, depending on where you're watching this interview, you'll be able to see the link to that in the YouTube video description, in the blog post, or in the social media post where you're watching this video. And if you want to learn more about how to take your expertise that you're already sharing one person at a time, or that you have just been, talking with your friends about, but think you'd love to make a business out of, you want a step-by-step walkthrough through the whole process of turning that into a group coaching program that you can use to touch dozens or even hundreds of lives at a time while freeing up your own time. I'd love to give you that walkthrough. So I've got a couple of links into the post, the video description, or the blog post. One of them is a written walkthrough that you can just absorb on your own time. And one of them will be a walkthrough with me personally guiding you through the whole process. So you can ask your questions right there, right then. So please feel free to check out those links. And in the meantime, I hope you create an awesome day.